Well, folks, thanks for tuning in for end of the week and a little peek at the week ahead, so you can be informed, looking at the news that matters and staying ahead of your colleagues and friends in terms of predicting what's going to be breaking out this week. First of all, keep your eye obviously on Iran. We continue to get the reports of planes flying out of Tehran, many of which seem to be headed for Russia. No real confirmation if it is the leaders of the vicious Ayatollah's regime, the Islamist extremists, or if it is top functionaries leaving with quite literally carrying planes filled with gold, planes filled with cash, things definitely unraveling in Iran. Keep an eye on that. There's been some suggestion that neither China or Russia will let Iran unravel because of the strategic place that Iran plays for China and Russia in terms of disrupting ongoing world affairs. But you know, China and Russia have their own issues. And are they going to be seen as supporting and expending capital on a regime that seems to be on its last legs? Keep an eye on that. China is something to watch for in the upcoming week because this is the start of their next 5-year plan. As you probably know, for decades, China has operated on the highly socialistic premise of 5-year business plans. But look at some interesting things coming out. It's hard to predict. They're going to be coming out with more details relative to what they're going to do to handle tariffs out of the U.S. If they think that they're making the U.S. nervous by what they just did with the U.K., Prime Minister Starmer went over there and got tariffs lifted or moderated somewhat on whiskey coming out of the UK. And if they think that's going to alarm the Americans, they might have something coming on that. Also, there have been concerns in China related to a recent shift that President Xi did relative to the army, high-level army, suggesting that there's dissatisfaction there. Keep an eye on China and Japan. Equally, very interesting, huge debate going on in Japan right now. And it's to do with the amount of militarization that is being proposed by the government, by the prime minister, by Sanai Takachi, related to increasing the military. Because back in 1947, after Japan was conquered, there was a very strong concern about Japan's very aggressive military history. And so in their constitution, they were required to put in there, it's called Article 9, something that says they renounce war and they renounce a buildup of military. But Japan now is facing concerns relative to China. China sending their warships in and around islands that Japan claims are theirs. And of course, the increasing threat to Taiwan, and Japan saying something which did not make China happy, and that is that China should expect Japan to react if China makes a move on Taiwan. So watch for that debate continuing in Japan. Are they going to increase their military or not? And markets in the U.S., I'm predicting, keep an eye on this, that the rapid rise or the ongoing rise in gold prices that we saw, you're going to see that taper off. Silver, as we predicted, already moving downward. And that's partly because of a new Fed chair coming in. This is the person who heads up decisions, for instance, on what the rate is going to be, and a rate that affects bank rates. Kevin Warsh is the guy. He's favored by Trump because the position that Kevin Warsh takes is that the Fed should not be controlling how much money is flowing into the economy and usually causing negative or causing a rise in the inflation rate. And Kevin Warsh's view, from all the economic studies he has done, and people are reading them now quite feverishly, are that he prefers to let innovation, entrepreneurship, and citizens themselves investing in business to be the drivers of the market, and not artificially increasing rates by dumping money into the economy or causing the economy to contract. So I'm saying that's going to be good for business. I'm saying that business is generally going to react positively to this. So watch for that to continue. We'll see if we're right on that. Tempering that a bit, there goes the U.S. again. They're talking about another government shutdown based on funding with the planned ending of funding on a number of agencies. Watch for that. Let's see what's going to come from that. And one of Elon Musk's recommendations when he was heading up the Department of Government Efficiency there, also known as DOGE, was that he was going to lay off 6,000. There was going to be a layoff of 6,000 workers in the tax department, in the Internal Revenue Service, or as some call it, the Infernal Revenue Service. So let's see if that recommendation goes ahead, and if those 6,000 public servants who are seemed as being redundant are going to be laid off. In Canada, now you can watch for increasing a sense of confidence from the opposition party, the Conservative Party of Canada, because their leader, Pierre Poilievre, got a very strong vote at the annual convention to continue to lead the Conservatives forward. The vote that he got was over 87%. So watch this week how the Liberals react to that. There have been suggestions that the Liberals might be ready to do a quick election call if Poilievre, who's the leader of the Conservatives, looks weak. This certainly doesn't make him look weak. It makes him look very strong. So let's watch that. In terms of kind of a funny thing that's happening in Canada, those of you who were Baywatch fans way back, or Babe Watch as they called it, and Pamela Anderson, who's Canadian, was certainly a star in that series with her, what should we say, acting abilities. And now that she's much older, she was just in an interview and she said she kind of yearns for Finland, which is the land of her father and grandfather. And she was talking about that, and all of a sudden Finland has gone wild. A big advertising company in Finland pasting billboards at strategic places in Canada and in British Columbia saying, Pamela, come back to Finland. So kind of a funny offset there. Let's see where that goes. The Grammys this week are coming up on Sunday night. There'll be a lot of attention Sunday night, so you can watch for that, and a lot of speculation and talk on Monday following, as there always is. Kendrick Lamar is up for 9 awards, 9 nominations. Of course, Lady Gaga, always strong, up for 7, and a return of Justin Bieber to the Grammy show. Let's watch and see if that's going to go anywhere. On the international side of reporting, there's an annual event that takes place in Washington, D.C. It's called the International Religious Freedom Summit, and speakers from around the world will be covering what is seen to be in some areas increasing persecution and increasing taking away of freedoms from especially targeted towards Christians. Something a little bit new of a twist there. That's usually in either communist countries. Certainly we're seeing it now being expressed, concerns in some African countries, and concerns out of Canada because of a bill that the federal Liberals have, which would threaten to call hate speech in terms of certain Bible references. So let's see if there's any discussion on that. That's a quick peek at the week ahead, folks. We've been hitting it fairly much on target in past weeks for you to give you the heads up. I hope we're as accurate this week. Thanks for tuning in, and take a day of rest if you can. We'll see you starting next week on Monday. Thanks. Bye now.